Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her by 10 Forward number 7.
Is it 7?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. USS Callister from Black Mirror. I'm Chris, and joining me today are...
Ames.
Jake.
And Caitlin.
What? Caitlin, you sound so different.
You've changed.
Something touching dicks.
I think, no, that's definitely Caitlin.
Please actually introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Liz.
So yes, we are unexpectedly doing USS Callister. We've been hoping to...
We've been expecting to do this for months.
Well, yes, but we didn't formally announce it last episode. Real life got in the way. Caitlin couldn't be here. And so we invited Liz to join us to discuss this episode of Black Mirror.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for being here, Liz.
Absolutely.
Adding some class to this joint.
Fucking yes. Yes, I am.
And I am devastated because no one will laugh at my jokes this week.
I don't understand why.
We'll laugh at them, just not as often or loudly or be in agreement as much.
That's fine. I guess you're alright, Liz.
Thanks. It's the nicest thing anyone said to me.
That's right. That's right.
So, USS Callister is, the first episode of Season 4
Yes.
of Black Mirror, available on Netflix. No, we're not a partner.
It should be.
We are covering it because if you haven't seen it already, which you really should have, you're going to be very confused for this.
Yeah, we're going to spoil the whole thing.
It is partly a Star Trek parody episode.
I think it's mostly a Star Trek parody episode.
Well, it probably spends about...
In the only way that Black Mirror would do it.
Right.
It's a Black Mirror version of a parody of a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, it spends about half its time in the real world. So yes, the basic premise is that Robert Daly?
Yes.
Robert Daly helped create this, basically he created No Man's Sky, but the way people actually wanted it. It's a massive procedurally generated sci-fi universe. This huge company has been built off the back of it. He's the chief technology officer, and his, rather slimy cohort, Walton is the CEO, and we find out that he spends basically all his free time in his own mod of it, which is, cut off from the cloud version, which he has skinned to resemble his favorite show. It's just called Space Fleet?
Yeah, the show is just called Space Fleet.
Which is a very, TOS-flavored Star Trek parody. And at first, it just looks like he has made versions of his co-workers who otherwise ignore or browbeat him. But it turns out to be a much darker sort of power fantasy than that, since it turns out he has actually digitally cloned them using stolen DNA, and they are fully aware of who they were in the real world.
Because that's what DNA does, because that's what happened with Pulaski that time.
Have you not played Assassin's Creed? All your memories are in your DNA.
I've never played Assassin's Creed.
No, I know, but Liz has. That's why I said it.
It's true. It's all real.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So, a recent hire, Cole, has been sucked in, and her digital doppelganger decides this is bullshit and we're going to escape. And all the other crew/co-workers who tried this stuff before and been, they've given up, because in the world of the game, Daly is basically a fucking wizard and can just do anything he wants. He's full on Charlie Evans. He makes a woman's face disappear.
I was thinking Charlie Evans too.
Turns people into monsters, this, that, and the other thing. But people can't actually die. So he can torment them in any way he wants, but they won't actually die, which is just horrifying.
They're not alive. They can't die.
Yeah, exactly.
They can feel all the pain, though.
Yes. It's quite terrifying. But Cole finally is the one who discovers ways to exploit the program, and the digital clones manage to foil Daly, escape to the cloud version of the game. They think they're just going to delete themselves, but they actually now exist in this game with free will and all their genitalia returned.
Thank goodness.
And Daly winds up trapped in a void or with his mind wiped or something. It's a little vague, but he's dead. And rightly so. So yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's the short version. Watch it if you want better details.
Yeah, definitely. I'll watch it anyway. It's very, very good. A lot of people tout it as the best Black Mirror. I don't know if I agree with that, but
There's some pretty good Black
there are some
Mirrors.
really good Black Mirrors.
If you're into that sort
This
of
is
shit.
the only Black Mirror I've seen.
I was going to ask if
wow.
you knew any of the other Black Mirrors.
I
You
saw-
should still watch the other Black Mirrors too. They're all very good.
People say it's good. The thing is, I actually am not super into dystopian stuff.
Get out!
less-
Get out!
Less so now that we live in one. Like, I love Fahrenheit 451. I love the original Blade Runner. The sequel's okay. But aside from that, I'm not huge on dystopian stuff.
I don't know if I would always call Black Mirror dystopian now.
I mean, it's sometimes just
Utopian.
there's that. You know, that term dystopian.
Eh?
I don't care for the term. I don't
Like,
Right.
at all?
The term?
That's the term.
You like the genre, but you hate the term.
Yeah, well, because I feel like the genre is very broad. Because it's supposed to be like... It's supposed to be a utopia that is not... That is like sinister, right? Like that's the idea. That's kind of where...
I don't know
That's
if
one
that's
way to
the-
put it.
I don't know if I'd put it that way. though.
It's
Well,
really just...
define the genre then for me.
Define
In your
a
opinion,
dystopia?
yeah. Don't touch me.
I'm sure there's a good Merriam-Webster definition for it.
I mean...
But
I think it's a made-up word. Like, it's not like...
Well, words in general are made up, yes.
No. You know what I mean. Someone
I'm
took
sorry.
the word...
Words were given to us by God, yes.
Someone took the
By
word
computer
utopia
guy.
and was like, yeah, man, I'm good. It's like, it's a dysfunctiontopia.
No, it's drawing off the same, like, Greek prefix as utopia. It's just like where utopia is an ideal society, dystopia is an unideal society. It's society gone wrong.
According to Merriam-Webster Online, an imaginary place where people lead dehumanized and often fearful lives.
That seems really broad.
Yes, I mean,
that's-
that thing. It is very broad dystopia.
Anyway, I don't know if I'd consider most of Black Mirror dystopia. I think Black Mirror is futuristic and like I feel like the series creator Charlie Brooker, who's written or at least co-written almost every single episode, just has he's just a technophile and will like look at a piece of technology and be like, how could this thing advance and then like become a central point of a storyline?
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like virtual realities, specifically using a Star Trek feel.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just heard it described as dystopian, which is why I kind of figured it was.
The way the internet suggested it to me to summarize Black Mirror is what if blank but too much.
Yes.
Yes.
I've heard that before, too.
Yes. That is very true.
What if virtual reality but too much.
Yep, that's this episode because this is a lot of virtual reality.
So, what was really excellent about this episode was the pacing and the way everything was revealed. Because it was really quite clever. They're doing what feels like a sort of a traditional setup with like sort of a browbeaten sort of put upon little nerdy fella who creates... I mean, he's basically Reg Barkley.
Oh.
You know, Reg, when we first meet Reg, spoilers, since we haven't actually technically gotten there in the show yet, is, you know, when we first meet him, he's...
A lovable fuck-up.
Yeah, and he's got, like, holodeck versions of the crew that know who he is and like him, and he's very clever and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, it's Reg.
I mean, he also humiliates his holodeck.
Does he? I haven't seen that episode in so long.
he does, yeah.
It's an unfortunate episode.
Okay, so he really is Reg. But then, gradually, the twists are revealed in that, one... he's actually kind of an awful person.
Kind
Yeah.
of. Only kind of.
Like, you're like, well...
Kind of a monster.
He's kind of a shitty person.
He's
Then you
only
realize,
a
oh no,
shitty
he
person.
is the worst.
He's a shitty person to fake people. But I don't know, like, the level of their fakeness, like, how aware was he when creating this world that these are going to be real people all of the time?
I
I'm
mean...
sure he knew.
And how real are these people?
I feel like that is something that could be left up to interpretation up until the reveal about Walton's kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that really... Like, he may have been initially surprised when he sucked Walton in. Like, that may have... We don't know. But maybe like, oh, shit, he knows he's Walton. Huh.
Oh, he's still going when I'm offline.
Yeah.
He's still hanging out here by himself, drinking copiously.
Yes.
Which is great. Jimmy Simpson is fabulous in this episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so the reveal that he's really, like, it's like, oh... You actually, like, I can understand, you're probably actually creepy and weird in real life, and this is why people avoid you. Like, no offense, son, but you kind of earned some of this. And then the reveal of the fact that they know they're in a program comes later. And that's really quite clever, too. Like, the fact they don't play all their cards at once and they let you sort of...
Yeah. Because you sympathize with Daly at the get-go, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, they're just treating him badly, and he's just, a lovable engineering nerd.
Yeah, this company wouldn't exist without him. And it feels like a classic story of, like, weird nerdy guy makes this great thing, but he needs someone to be sort of the face of it, and that asshole kind of starts taking all the credit.
Steve Jobs and Steve
Wozniak. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You feel like it's that, or any other number, of
He
stories.
got Woz-jobbed.
Yeah. You think it's one of those situations, and you feel like, the scene where, what was the British woman's name?
The black woman?
Yeah.
Shania Lowry.
So when Lowry's, like, talking to Cole, and she says, on the one hand, it's kind of funny how promiscuous Walton is, and then in the same breath, like, oh, he's a bit of a starer, and you're like, it feels, okay, so this guy's like a serial sexual harasser, but that's okay, because he's handsome and funny. This guy's
he's not a kid. What his life is like.
Yeah.
He has a guitar, too.
So
true.
So it feels... Yeah, oh, God. So it feels like, that's a real fucked up double standard. Not that saying being a starer shouldn't be, like, considered off-putting, but the fact that that's off-putting, but this guy being a serial sexual harasser is, like, kind of funny. You feel like that's bullshit. But again, that's kind of before the real, like, oh, no, he's probably not just a starer. He's probably, like, ugh.
But he never open-mouth kisses.
True.
And he doesn't let anyone have genitals.
Well, that's in the game, but yes.
Well, this sort of plays into something that, like a lot of Black Mirror episodes, something that is prevalent and discussed often in present-day society, which is how stuff that you do online or on the computer, how reflective of it is that of your outside world. And, like, for example... the question, if you are a pedophile and you are getting your rocks off in this virtual world, is that better, say, than doing that in the real world? I mean, is that something that should be condemned? Because, otherwise you might be hurting people in real life. Now, of course, the twist here is that the virtual people that he's hurting in the virtual world happen to be fully functioning, sentient
questionably
beings.
Sentient. I think they question their own sentience at one point, which is very interesting.
Yeah, the other coder guy has a quick line
Dudani.
Something about the debate over sentient code, but then he gets cut off before he can keep dataing all over the place.
I like that it was there, though.
Yeah.
Dating, that's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a thing, right? AI and how we treat AI.
Well, and recently, again, though, in relation to that, the fucking, because the 90s are back, the debate over whether or not video games inspire violence has reemerged, and it's like, speaking as someone who has played a lot of what would be referred to as murder simulators, I've never murdered anyone.
My Sims get it a lot.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
I actually am basically Robert Daly in that there are some people Sims I just torture because I can.
I'm more of a serial killer in The Sims.
I will have my cat Sims attack my various human Sims.
Oh.
Just to make them have a rough day.
I cannot intentionally hurt my Sims. I wind up too attached to them.
Oh.
I don't play this game, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's amusing.
I do play the Crusader Kings, wherein I often wed people I don't like to ugly or infertile people.
So you kind of have a point of reference.
Yeah. It's sort of like, there's that question of, does this sort of game or this sort of world and freedom encourage and sanction and normalize certain bad behaviors or unethical behaviors, or is it just something like that's reflective and dependent on the individual using it? Like in this case with Daly, like at the reveal over the course of the episode is like, no, we're pretty sure that you would do this to the people in the real world if you like worried about, like if you weren't worried about the consequences.
Yeah, if he thought he could get away with it,
probably. But that's what we're left believing. However, the story is told from the perspective of his clones, his slaves in the computer.
Yeah.
His Sims.
But from his... Yes. So if you take it from his perspective, to play devil's advocate a little bit here, he could be viewing it more like, you know what? I'm a mild-mannered guy. I would never hurt somebody, even people that I despise, like, Walton over there. But I can get my, whatever. I can have this catharsis in the virtual world by creating copies of these people and torturing them.
The thing is...
And I don't think maybe he doesn't realize that there's... Well, maybe he does, too. But that there's... That the full extent to the sentience that the copies have.
Yeah, if he had just created them, via just code, that's one thing. Then it's like, yeah, sure. I think we all, if we could, make sort of digital copies of people we loathe and fuck with them in a virtual world, we might.
The cat attack them, yes.
Yeah, but like the fact that they are, even if they're not actually sentient, they're just programs made to think they are, which is a debate we had a while ago, read data. The fact that they do have all that experience and all that memory, like the fact that they don't just happen to look like these people, like they actually are, adds a whole extra layer of like, oh, this is weird.
Would it be better then, would you say, if they had just been physical copies, or, like visually identical, but
not mentally?
But they were made, they were just some random...
They were just characters.
AI. Yeah. Like if you skinned, like, if you, had a video game or if you had The Sims and you could load images of people you didn't like into the physical models in the game, is that also creepy?
I mean, it can be creepy, but it's also cathartic. Like, I had an archery class in college, and our instructor encouraged us to vent our frustrations on the targets. Like, someone would bring in a picture of their ex, and we put it on the target and shoot at them.
Yeah. See? That's
it.
That could be viewed as creepy, potentially.
And this is the whole, like, what if X but too much? It's like, I feel like I have no qualms saying, if I could just put in like a skin and just fuck with it, but know that it's still just a program. Yeah, of course. But then if it actually was then it's like, oh, that's weird. No.
Yeah, it's the line between virtual intelligence and artificial intelligence, or actual intelligence.
Yeah.
Like
the really, really creepy part is when we learn that we have added Tommy to the mix.
Oh,
Tommy being a 6-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That for benefit of the listeners, daily shoves out an airlock and makes his father in the program watch.
Yeah, Walton's his dad.
Yeah, Walton's his dad. Tommy, who presumably is also a questionably sentient character in this game, has been killed in a really horrific way.
And it just occurred to me.
Yeah?
Like, they made a point of pointing out that you can't die. You just feel the pain forever.
Right, so he's presumably...
Tommy's out there.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Well, until the end, when his skin... But yeah, little sentient or questionably sentient chunks of ice.
So did anybody who was not on board the Callister...
I was wondering this too.
...just vanish?
I mean, at the very end, they're talking about, Rogue Universe Detective deleting.
Yeah.
So I assume they were deleting everything. So fucking poor Jillian, the big space bug.
Julian from marketing.
Probably at least gets the benefit of being deleted.
Although in theory... the enemy guy.
Valdek was on board. You saw him at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, he did show up at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was on the bridge.
And was Walton still toasting away in the engine core?
No, he was also on the bridge at the end.
He definitely...
Was he?
Did you not
ran
watch
on
the
end.
ending?
Yeah, because once they made it through, like, it was a mega happy ending. Once they made it through, like, everybody suddenly came and was like, oh, I'm not on fire, yay!
Oh,
yeah.
I thought
and Lowry comes back in and she's not a bug anymore?
Yeah, I saw Lowry came on the bridge.
Walton was next to her.
No, that was the other guy.
That was the other guy?
Yeah, I did not
I'm
see
pretty
Walton
sure
on the
Walton
bridge at
was
the
there.
end.
Walton showed up with blonde dude.
Oh, did he? Okay.
No, I thought that was only... I thought
Velvet.
Lowry and...
There was a
I'm
blink
assuming
and you
we
miss
found a
it
picture.
moment with the blonde dude in the real world, too.
Oh, I totally didn't
He was
catch
the
him
guy
there.
with the gym bag at the beginning.
Oh, was he? Okay, I had missed that. He shows up
That's
again at
right.
the end, too, in a bad Christmas sweater and lets real Cole, into the office.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was him.
That's good.
I hadn't made that connection.
Oh, I thought that's who let her into the office?
I thought that's who it was.
I thought it was
Big
creepy.
blonde fella. No, he had too
Really?
much hair.
Oh, okay.
And he's wearing an ugly Christmas
I
sweater.
don't know. I
which...
couldn't tell. I wasn't
wasn't
looking at him
wearing.
face on. I couldn't tell if he had tiny eyes.
Oh. But yeah, the Star Trek stuff.
Yep.
Since we haven't actually discussed that explicitly yet.
Very Star Trek.
Yeah.
Jesse Plemons does a good Kirk.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he does.
He does a very good Kirk.
Yeah, he's clearly studied his...
Oh, very much so. This has proven a point I have long believed, but I've never brought up before. Star Trek has not done enough with sweet jackets yet. Like, most of the uniforms were just, like the men's uniforms were just straight up TOS uniforms.
With the new Trek insignia pattern.
Yeah. And the women's were the women's uniforms, but revealing more skin.
Oh yeah, because the whole TOS loved to reveal that side area.
They did, yes, it was perfect. And they even kept the navel hidden like they often did in the 60s.
Like you should, because navels are gross.
Tasteful.
But the captain had that sweet jacket. And it's
Right.
like, why doesn't Star Trek ever do sweet... I've always thought they should do a cool uniform jacket, and they never have. And this proves they need to.
They do it later in the TNG movies. They start to go into that sort of thing.
TNG movies, the captains, because Picard and Sisko at some point have like an action vest.
When does Picard get his bomber jacket?
He has his
It's
bomber
really
jacket
good.
around Darmok and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
That's
that's
a
a
good jacket.
that's a little different. I mean something like this, which
Okay.
was just really neat. What's interesting too, Liz, you had mentioned this, is it has the sort of like insignia pattern throughout the cloth, which is interesting. Not a TOS thing, but a first two Kelvin movies thing. And the bridge was actually very Kelvin in some ways. It was like somewhere between Kelvin and TOS.
I'd have to rewatch the Kelvin movies, but
There's a lot of just, very plastic and white, and a lot more use of red than TOS did. Like, they got the red bridge rail, but then red on the floor, and this and that. It's just, it was just aesthetically a nice mashup of the two. What I also liked was that the side, I don't think the main front, like, navigation and helm panel, but the, like, science communication panels at the back had a little swoop up on the sides, sort of suggestive of the wings of the Callister itself.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Okay,
is
I
a
like that.
really... As far as parody designs go, that was great. I love that ship.
The exterior of the
the
ship,
Callister?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
Cool.
pretty good.
it was beautiful.
the
So-
texture was really nice.
So Jimmy Simpson,
Mhm.
the actor that played Walton,
Yep.
says, "My take is, and you'd have to ask Charlie,
Charlie
Brooker.
Charlie Brooker.
he believes he's screaming cells for all eternity." So he was not in the end. He was
Who,
not.
the Robert Daly character?
No,
Oh, he wasn't in
Walton
the end?
was not in. I was sure
I
I
could've
was.
sworn he
Yeah,
walked
it was. It was.
I could have sworn he walked on.
No, it was the blonde guy.
It must have been the other blonde guy, and I got him confused.
Yeah, no, he's in the engine core,
Oh.
burning forever.
Fair enough.
Wow, but he went through the. They went through the repatch.
Yeah, but he was in the engine core
Oh.
when they did. So presumably he's still in the engine core.
Or maybe he can just die now.
Maybe he can just die now. That'd be fine.
He could respawn.
Yeah. But, I get that. Also, actually, there's sort of an almost, basically the end of Wrath of Khan. Someone sacrificing themselves
Mhm.
to save the rest of the
Oh yeah,
crew.
there's a
True.
lot of little nods here and there in this show.
And actually, yeah, strangling him and lifting him up, kind of like when Khan has Chekhov by the handle.
Yeah.
The Valdek character reminded me of Khan a little bit, with just his brawny, muscular guy.
Yeah, and that little speech of like, "I've been a good adversary
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you."
Just
Just end it.
I like that guy
He cries.
trying to do it in character. Good for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be a bug thing like Jillian.
No.
And then like you already mentioned the Charlie Evans
Yeah,
face
yeah.
stealing.
Oh yeah,
obvious nod.
and the toxic masculinity. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, there was definitely some of that. Well, I mean, it's kind of like what would happen if the kid that got bullied in school was suddenly all powerful.
Yeah.
What kind of bullshit would he pull?
Yeah.
And apparently, it's not fuck everybody because he made that.
No, it's
impossible.
a power thing. It's not a sexual thing. It's a power thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
he does still make the women kiss him, which is
Yeah.
With no
Yeah.
tongue.
no
It was
tongue, true, but it's
But
still,
still
a little
gross.
gross.
Very gross.
That was the interesting thing where,
You should make Walden kiss him.
Oh boy.
oh dear. I mean, that's the thing. Like there is some consensual questionability going on there.
Oh, it's not a question. There's just no consent.
Yeah, no, there's no consent.
No, they're
but
being forced.
but like
to do
he's
this.
doing like some like rapey ass shit.
Yeah.
Except he's still insisting on keeping a desexualized cast of characters, but it's just, when he's very specifically keeps a very violently realistic world. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw this kid out the airlock, and we're gonna go through the whole process of dying in a vacuum.
Yep, and make it as realistic as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he clearly wants to live out some fantasies with the girls.
Mm.
Just interesting that he still
Maybe
draws a line.
He's romantic but asexual.
Maybe.
Well, they make it. They write it off as, oh, it was on the show. The
You never
space
saw it.
fleet,
Oh yeah, you never.
there were
saw
no
him fuck on
genitals. There was no sex on the show, which
Right.
proves that it's not based on Star Trek because
the-
original series Star Trek had so much fucking going on.
Well, yeah, but you never saw any.
You never saw it, but you know it was there.
Oh yeah.
All that junk.
Mhm.
So how
Grinding
excited?
against each other.
How you get all that ass. Sorry. That was
Jake knows every song.
Black Eyed Peas.
Oh.
Will I Am.
No.
I was listening attentively.
Yeah. It's the
Thank you,
dumbest
Caitlin.
song because it's
My pleasure.
my hums. My lovely love.
Oh, it's part of that song.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the Will I Am bit is how you get all that ass inside those jeans.
I see.
Yes.
You get jeans that are the right size.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
There you go, Will.
I can speak from experience.
Yeah. It's a terrible
Jean
song.
skirt.
Oh.
So do you think like the first thing the Russian lady did when all was said and done was go take a dump?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, is that...
They're still programs. Do they actually need to take?
I don't
They're,
know.
yeah, they're
I mean-
programs. Like, whatever they're consuming isn't fucking real. Whenever they have drinks at the bar, as Walton is very interested in doing all of the time.
Which is fair. Can they get drunk, or do you think he's just acting out this?
I don't know. My Sims can get drunk, so maybe. Actually, I don't think they have drinks. They have juice in the Sims.
They have drinks. It's just never explicitly stated as alcohol. They can have mixed drinks.
Well, they never
energy drinks.
lose their
Certainly it's-
minds when they're drinking them.
No.
It still
Just
tastes
their
like
bladder.
liquor, certainly, because when Cole drinks her vodka, she reacts like to the flavor and such. So
Potency.
that is a little vague.
We never do they eat? We never see them with food.
Yeah, I think, I mean, so the most disturbing part of this, not the most disturbing part.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
disturbing
there's so
parts
much.
of this. There's a lot.
Another aspect to the disturbingness of what's going on here is the fact that they are up all the time.
Yeah.
That there's no escape.
Well, they always have to be ready in case Daly comes in.
Well, they don't need to sleep, so
Right,
they
and-
probably just can't.
I would say they probably can't, and you'd think that, like, you know, that they would go into sleep mode or something, and maybe, you know, they would only be on when Daly was there. But no, they're just there all the time, awake.
If he goes on vacation, they're there by themselves for a week doing nothing.
Please, that man, you know he doesn't go anywhere for his vacations.
This
He
is
just
true.
plays the game the whole time.
If he has to travel for business, he'll take it with him.
Yeah.
You gotta figure nothing on the ship really seems to work when they're... when
Just
he's
push
not
whatever
there.
button.
Yeah, well, like, it's
Oh,
not
when
like...
he's- yeah.
when he's not there, it's not like they can...
Yeah, they can't
Go
They
somewhere.
can't navigate.
Yeah. So they're left just literally banging their heads on things.
Banging their heads on
As
things.
Walton does.
Grinding their minds together.
Trying to make it a hobby.
Yeah.
That was the best
He
line.
was very good.
Oh.
You know, you never know how you want to feel about Walton.
No, because you kind of like...
Well, in the real world,
Walton
he's
is
a
a
prick.
shit.
He is, even in the virtual world. You know what it is? It's virtual Walton is not a threat at this point.
Right.
He's got no power.
Yeah.
So you can laugh at him, you can feel a little bad for him. You can feel even more bad for him when you learn about Tommy, but at no point, like, is he in a
But
position...
he's still the personality of the real Walton.
Yeah, he's a dick.
He's
yeah.
like...
Well, like
yeah.
I pointed out, there's that moment where Cole's talking about the pictures on her Instagram or whatever they call it in the show.
Yeah.
And in the background, he's kind of smirking like, I want to see those. So there is still...
Maybe the last 9 will do.
But
he
then-
hasn't entirely reformed.
But when he sees them, his response is, nice bedding.
Yeah, I think that was him trying to be like...
Clever.
Yeah. Yeah, we know what he was... Yeah.
That ass. It's
And
there.
everything else.
Why would she have these photos up?
She sent them to an ex.
Why would she
Why
keep
would you
them on
have
her
them
own
in the
cloud?
A lot of people do that.
That's so stupid.
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
understand.
I mean, a lot of phones
Also, yeah.
will automatically
Yeah.
sync your photos. Like mine, if I take a photo, it syncs
How many
to
nude
Google.
photos of yourself are on the cloud, Jake?
13.
Let's see.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I know you
entire
recently
collection.
got
Oh.
Instagram and have some really, really lovely photos and videos up
I
there.
do have many. Oh, I haven't posted on Instagram in a little while. Oh well. I'm not going to do it now.
No, we're busy.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think Cole is just a perv.
Yeah.
Walton?
No,
Cole.
Cole.
Oh, Cole.
I mean, I wouldn't
She
say
likes-
she's a perv. She's just a participant in the current internet culture. Of just...
So a perv.
Yeah, fair. Okay, touche. When you put it like that.
There
It's
are...
interesting. That felt a little bit far-fetched to me. The like,
the how to resolve the episode.
well, just that, like, okay, they're blackmailing her by saying we'll release these naked pictures of you.
Mm.
Unless the pictures are like hardcore fisting or something, is it all that much worse than...
What if it is?
Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't want, like, friends and coworkers to get
Well,
naked pictures of me.
nobody would, but I feel like...
Is it? Well, it's also all she's asked to do is call for a pizza,
break
and
into
steal-
her boss's house.
and steal
Steal a
some
lollipop.
coffee lids and a lollipop. It's not like
Which she was very confused
Yeah,
by.
it's not like another Black Mirror episode, which I'll
Well,
not spoil, where
yeah, that's
it's
true.
much, much worse.
Oh,
Yeah,
the first one? The very first episode?
Well,
No.
that
Prime
one was
Minister?
pretty bad. There
No,
was,
not
but
that
there's
one, but
another
there's
one
another
where,
one.
where people are being blackmailed.
Oh.
It's a really good episode. It's got what's his fuck in it?
The
John
guy-
Hamm? No, somebody.
No, John Hamm was in a different
he's in a
episode.
different episode.
But I
It's
mean,
got
also-
some good actor in it that I like.
She's also a she's a programmer. She's in a tech field, and she's a woman. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that adds another layer of risk for public humiliation.
Possibly.
Like, that would screw her. That would, she'd be done.
It's also a very, like, clearly the company is very big and possibly, like, we don't know much about the actual program. It could be that it's aimed at a wider audience, and you'd be amazed the stupid bullshit that's taken down people that are barely public at companies, if they're big enough.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I can't see someone who wasn't predisposed to breaking and entering going that far with a blackmail.
Well, I mean, they viewed some of her
photos.
photos, so it's like, well, she knew she would do it. Is the other thing like
That's true.
That's
she's
true.
there in the game, and she's like, if I say this to myself, this is what I would do, so this is what she will do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, my main gripe with the episode is in the time it takes for Sim Cole and Daly to go splash in some water, they have called Real Cole. Real Cole has driven to Daly's house, has ordered a pizza, and the pizza has arrived, all in this time frame of what seems like 5 minutes.
It's true.
And the pizza guy gets there and says, I got here in under 10. You said you'd give me a bonus for getting here in under 10. But that's still longer than it should take for them to splash in the pond and buy some time.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was odd. I mean, maybe... Because I got the impression that Daly, when he's jacked into the system, he does not have any awareness of what's going on around him, other than stuff that's like...
Wired into his little...
Yeah, so his doorbell is obviously tied to the simulation.
Yeah.
So it seems like it probably would have been easier for real-world Cole to break in, steal the stuff while he was there, jacked in.
But she wouldn't do that. Like, that might be the line where she as a person would be like, I'm not going in there, like, he's right there.
Plus,
He's unresponsive.
they don't know in the game. They don't know that
That's true.
he doesn't necessarily have... I mean, we know as
He
the
might
audience
have
he doesn't
motion
have security.
sensors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like a good Star Trek fan, knowing he doesn't care about security.
No.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, that's
His shuttle bay doors are wide open. God damn it,
this
Kirk.
guy's probably a very, very wealthy man because
Yeah.
he invented this system.
Yeah.
He's got all the VHS tapes.
And
VHS.
DVDs
And
and
Blu-rays.
Blu-rays and all these little toys and probably some original props. He's probably got whoever actually played the captain's actual wig.
Oh, I was going to say his skeleton somewhere.
That too.
It just seems odd to me that he wouldn't have any kind of security or
Yeah.
or even lock his balcony door.
Yeah.
Maybe he just figures he's, like, low profile enough as a figure. And
No, I don't think he's that low figure though, right? He's the co-founder of this.
Yeah, but he's
huge
barely noticed
game
even in his own
company.
company.
Yeah, like, Cole knows him
Very
because
nondescript.
she's apparently a wicked coding geek.
Yeah, but you could always somebody would try to kidnap him for ransom.
Yeah.
I think
Maybe.
'Cause that happens.
Who would pay the ransom?
Him,
The company.
himself.
His insurance company.
Oh, that is a thing that rich people have.
Yeah.
Money.
Well, like insurance coverage for kidnapping and ransom.
Well, yes, that's true.
A lot of viewers and critics of the episode have been upset that it paints fans of sci-fi as potential molesters and people who are just, I don't know, Captain Daly.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe they need to take a look at
Nerd
fandom.
culture. Yeah. I mean, well, let's be honest. They need to look at the world in general. I mean, let's be honest here. Men are almost always potential molesters. I mean, all men are potentially molesters, but what I mean is the
Speak for yourself, dude.
I mean, to a woman, we unfortunately have a society that, as such, they have to look at all men as a potential threat. Like, that is just a truth of life, I think.
No, yeah, no, I definitely, like, I've just met someone, I'm like, what is this gonna be? Are you gonna try to murder me? I'll just keep you over there for now.
But yes, within geek spheres and other spheres that have, been traditionally thought of as male or are male-dominated spaces, and especially where women are starting to say, no, we're in this space as well, and there's been a lot of very strong reaction to that, much of it negative, like, yeah, they need to, like you said, Liz, take a look at their space and what's happening within it, and the fact that not enough, I think, is yet being done by larger communities to combat that image.
Take a look at their space fleet.
Oh.
I mean, I have been a big fan of sci-fi shit all my life. I've never molested anyone. But in retrospect, I didn't know how to talk to women in high school. Like, no men did. But one or two things, like, I may have crossed a line there without meaning to. And, I think, unfortunately, a lot of men in that space, rather than getting to know women as friends and paying attention to, say, other women and articles and whatever, just saying, here's how to not be an idiot, they just sort of reinforce themselves and get in their little bubbles. And
Yes. These are prospective genitals.
yeah, like, I mean, as someone who is on a fucking Star Trek podcast, so I'm pretty big on the nerdy spectrum, yeah, there are problems like that in that realm. I mean, yes, on the other hand, it is playing off sort of a negative stereotype of the weird, shut-in sci-fi nerd, but on the other hand, they have Daly go so far. I think it's clear to understand that, like, no, even he is supposed to be sort of an extreme example.
I think, actually, what I found interesting was I fell into a bunch of assumptions at the start of the episode. It was like, oh, okay, so he's the code monkey trope.
Yep.
Sure. He's that, shy guy who's really very nice, but he likes that girl from the office, and he's just like, and, sometimes he has to vent his frustration. But
Then
then
they
like,
reverse the trope on you.
you feel you feel it really shift with the point of view. Like,
Yeah.
I was noticing it, like, what I was expecting when he was eavesdropping on Cole and
Lowry?
Yes, the best character. I like her best. And talking about, he's a bit of a starer. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to feel bad for him when, no, I'm also the one who, like, participates in conversation, like, watch out for that one, he gets a little clingy. But, okay, so this is one of those situations, like, my brain was automatically like, I'm supposed to sympathize with him. I don't, but I'll just accept this, like, this is what we're watching, and continue. And then it flips it, and it suddenly gets darker, and you're watching, Cole wake up in the ship.
Yeah.
And, like, that whole sequence is, like, a sharp turn where suddenly you're not in his perspective anymore. You're from hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was, that POV shift that's an interesting tool that you don't see played a lot in like, this format, where partway through an episode, it just changes your POV immediately from one character to another.
Yeah.
But all of the real world POV, even after that point, is all from Daly.
No.
Right up until the burglary.
Yeah, at that point, that's the point where there's the most connection between the two worlds, so it makes sense why things would start to break down a little.
Yeah, when Cole first gets those photos.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of the POV inside the game, except for the very first scene, the cold open really is all from Cole's POV, which I don't know, I thought was an interesting play.
You mean Daly?
No, in the game it was Cole. It was her POV.
I mean, but except for the opening scene.
Except
okay,
yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay, sorry,
The
I
two
see.
opening scenes.
Yes.
The opening scene.
I understand.
And the strangling
Walton.
Walton scene.
I also did one thing I really kind of liked that they did, just from a technical perspective, was how that very first opening scene,
yes,
they filmed it in 4:3, and like,
the ship was made of plastic and kind of wobbly.
They made it look like
the sketchy filter, the music.
Yeah, they made it very much. But it's interesting, right? Because that was actually in the game.
Which was, in retrospect, that's a little weird.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting choice. I appreciated it.
It's for the audience.
Yeah,
so.
Artistically, I enjoyed it.
Well,
it doesn't
also,
make a ton of sense, but I like it.
Well, so speaking as someone who had not seen this before, and I hadn't had it I knew nothing about this episode. Say, oh, there's like a Star Trek parody. I didn't know it was a real world, virtual world thing.
Mm.
So from the opening, you're like, oh, okay, they're doing this parody like full bore. And then suddenly he's coming out of an elevator and the cinematography's completely different. And you're like, oh, fuck, wait, what?
Which one is real? And then you come to learn. Like, I think my first reaction seeing him coming out of the elevator was, this is the fake world. And obviously the Star Trek world is the real world.
See, I had thought maybe he was like, it was going to be one of those stories like, oh, he's writing stories or drawing comic books or something. I wasn't expecting a VR thing, which maybe I should have because it's Black Mirror. But, I figured that was the real world as soon as he was in it. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of why they could get away with that little...
Yeah, another thing I thought they did interestingly was to possibly to even further that point for the audience was in the real world, in the outside the game world, the color grading was very cool. It was very, it was like dreary.
Everything was gray and dimly lit.
It was almost, it
Even
was like
they
they applied the generic Russia filter. Like every time a show is in Russia, it's that.
Yeah.
Like, so but it feels almost,
desaturated.
Exactly. It feels less real. And then and it wasn't like they punched up the colors in the game.
They were just more.
It was more natural. It was more real colors in the game. And I think they possibly did that to suggest the realness of the characters in the game.
Yeah, because
actual people, basically.
I hadn't thought about it at the time, but like even in the office, everyone basically is just wearing white, gray, black, very subdued colors. The most colorful thing is Cole's sweater, and even that's sort of a washed out blue.
Oh, the nice sweater.
Yes.
Yeah, she had a nice sweater.
It's a nice sweater.
Yeah, but
even I remember Elena was wearing her reindeer antlers for the Christmas party, and the reds weren't even all that red.
Yeah, so the fact that the color was there at all, as the primary colored uniforms, the red, the really just bright white panels everywhere on the bridge.
I guess you can still think of it in terms of Daly's point of view.
The bright blue skin.
The real world is just dull, dreary, and just...
Sure.
Yeah,
empty.
he wants to escape.
I think the other thing that had me on his side at first, before everything was revealed, was that because he just has those big generic server things in his office, I thought, oh, he's like Richmond from the IT crowd.
It would also be pretty hot in there, in that office, unless he's got really good ventilation.
I'm sure they have good AC in an office like that.
Yeah.
It's their job.
If it's anything
their whole function as a company is to create this video game, so it's going to be really, really hot with computers.
If it's anything like my office, there's too much air conditioning and you're freezing your balls off.
Especially the women in the little skirts.
Yeah.
What if AC, but too much?
Yeah, that dystopian nightmare I live every day.
Yes.
That's the correct use of dystopia.
So the ending of the episode, so aside from evidently Walton getting fried forever, there's some other potentially disturbing implications.
Charlie Brooker, the series creator, has stated that in his world, in his canon, in his brain space, Daly has died of starvation because he put that "do not disturb" on his door, and no one has come to check on him.
Yeah, that's what. Good. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like what exactly happens to him, and it's not that. Like, it's just that he cannot...
Even though he's got that pizza right there!
Yeah.
No!
And the chocolate milk.
Yeah. So much fucking milk, dude!
Yeah, you would think there would have to be... Because that is something that would happen if that technology existed. People would put it on and never turn it
to
off.
come out.
Yeah.
And I would think that there would have to be some failsafe built in that, like, after...
Like how Amazon says, are you still watching? Please take a break.
Yeah, like, after 10 hours of uninterrupted use, it should, like, turn off. Also, the thing's got to have fucking batteries, right? Because it's not...
It's part of his door. It's probably just wired into the buildings.
No, I'm talking about the little...
Oh, the VR doodly. I thought you meant his door.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm talking about the VR thing. Like,
yeah.
At some point, you figure that thing's going to run out of juice. The thing that's strapped to his head, unless it's, like, wirelessly powered.
Well, it's also the near future, so batteries are really good.
That's true.
And I don't know how long you have to...
It has a solar panel.
How long you have to not eat to starve to death, but it can last just that long.
That's true. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Like, they might just
on The Sims, it takes fucking ever.
They might just keep you make sure build into their system your sessions and game time will be limited by like how conscious you are of your hunger. Like, you might get to a point where, like, you're starting to be vaguely aware that your body is hungry, and so, like, all right, I guess I'll sign out.
I mean,
And
there's
finish
also...
a chunk of milk that is probably rotted by now.
Ugh.
Does it also prevent you from pissing and shitting yourself?
No.
He's got a catheter
Yeah.
and a bucket.
Oh my.
I mean, I was kind of under the impression that, you know, his brain had probably been at least a little scrambled and or fried by being in the game when it deleted.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's definitely in the cockpit of that little shuttle screaming for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully eternity.
Yeah. But
that is the thing, like our Callister crew now. It's like, oh yay, they're going to have adventures as computer ghosts until they turn the servers off.
well, it's not just that. It's like
There's another upgrade.
as soon
Aaron Paul comes back.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so if anyone who's ever played an online multiplayer game knows that toxicity is a thing, and there's a lot of assholes in these games. So now, and like, imagine living for eternity on a really abusive Overwatch server. And like, you're forced to always play Hanzo, and everyone's always mad at you.
I am such a bad shot. I'd be a terrible Eternal Hanzo.
Exactly. I
It
mean,
could get better.
No.
you know, they can't acquire in-game currency because they don't have a credit card. Well, maybe they do.
poor real world Cole, like, computer Cole just keeps using her information.
Just blackmailing her. I do. Okay, so I feel like the whole, like, climax is all about, like, the firewall, or the resolution is that the firewall deleted the custom content or something. That's what they were saying.
The skin he'd created.
Yeah, like, that doesn't sound... That's not properly teching the tech there. Like,
I don't think so.
I would think it would be, like, you could say, like, the update deleted it. Like, that sort of thing happens.
Like, that was supposed to be part of it, right?
Yeah, but they kept saying the firewall. Firewalls don't do that.
Yeah, but this is definitely an episode where the actual science takes a back seat to
Sure,
the
I think that was just the
storytelling.
one thing. Like, everything else, I'm like, all right, hand wave everything, that's fine. But,
Yeah.
like, why
That
did they
is,
take firewall?
admittedly, one thing that maybe should have changed at the end was the ship.
Yeah, it still looked the same.
Can,
Well,
like-
other than the outside. Inside, they changed the bridge.
Did they?
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
It was silvery and pretty.
Yeah, they.
Oh, okay.
There was lens flare.
But the
Yeah,
basic-
it was they
Was
took-
the basic layout the same?
Yeah, the layout was the same. It was
Okay.
basically they did like an Abrams verse treatment
Yeah.
to it.
Okay. But yeah, you'd think the actual ship design being, you know... Who knows, though? Maybe they actually had a deal with the company and that ship actually does exist in the game.
Or maybe you can load custom ships.
Maybe that's the one thing they won't delete.
Yeah, I agree that the idea of the firewall, because a firewall is a specific thing. Like,
yeah.
it's not like a generic term for bad thing.
Yeah, I guess I had missed,
Wall
like...
of
I knew
fire.
they mentioned it, but I didn't pay a lot of attention. I thought it was just the update doing it.
Yeah.
Well, that would be the assumption.
Well, yeah, what they said was that, there's a wormhole that was
the
created...
update vortex that the computer referred to.
Yeah, the vortex. It was created by the update to the game for some reason. Don't know why. So
It's how it presented itself.
Which means that even though supposedly this was Daly's special server, it was still connected to the rest of the servers.
Well, I thought the idea was it had never fully disconnected after Cole contacted Real World Cole. Like, maybe he'd missed that and not fully shut it off. I thought that was the idea. That was the impression I was under. Was that he hadn't fully closed them off from the internet.
Well, I mean, but like, if it was his private server, why was it receiving the update at all? Why wouldn't he?
Well, that's right, like, because his server's probably connected to the internet for other things.
Yeah.
Just that program was cut off.
Sure.
But they opened a channel that he didn't then shut down during the initial contact with Real World Cole. That was what I had assumed, anyway. I will say that climax again was very Star Trek. You know, how many episodes are, we're in a weird bubble of space and we need to get to this collapsing... That was also just great, the way they did that.
Fly into the brown eye.
Get to the collapse, because we've had at least one so far in the show, because there was, two.
Nagilam's hole?
Yeah, Nagilum. And in TAS, when the Enterprise and the Klingons were in that weird bubble with the Bonaventure and all those other ships.
Yeah. Well, Times Squared was also kind of a fly into the brown eye situation.
Yeah. And there's been a ton already, and there's going to be even more.
Yeah.
Like, they love that we've got to fly through this collapsing wormhole or
the
space
only way to
bubble.
escape.
Fuck, there's a bunch of Doctor Who's that do that even, but we're talking Star Trek here.
It's a common theme in science fiction.
It is. So that was, again...
Flying through 2 small holes.
Yeah.
Daz, I have one more question.
Yes.
How does the chase happen at all if Daly's a god in this universe?
I was kind of wondering that. Like, couldn't he just make his little shuttle go faster?
Like, he hit the shuttle, like, the space, the limit that, it was going as fast as it could go, and the computer informed him so, and he was just like, fuck, alright, just go.
Well, the fact that he can't just, like, click his fingers and appear on the bridge.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, when he
connects
connects into the game, he always appears directly on the ship. So even if maybe there's some weird rule in the game where you can't just...
But he hadn't logged off. He had paused.
Right, but why couldn't he just disconnect, reconnect,
That's a good question.
and be immediately on the ship?
Well, and really,
Resets
every
him.
other time he's fully disconnected, that's broken the ship. Or
That's
turned
true,
it off.
Yeah, he could have just left the game.
I think in that case it became more about he wasn't thinking straight. He was thinking only in anger.
That's the best
that's
explanation.
probably-
Yeah, no, that's true. I think at that point
He
he's
just
really...
wanted to fuck their shit up at that point.
Like,
this is where he turns into Khan and is only there for the revenge and not there for the thinking straight and doing the things.
Thinking
that
two-dimensionally.
Who was it? Wacom?
Wacom.
Trying to tell him
Yeah,
don't
Yoakum.
fuck
Yeah.
everything up.
Yeah, that's probably the best because I was kind of wondering that too, but it seems like that's...
Like,
The best explanation is he's just...
Yeah.
He's snapped. This level of people...
With my last breath, I spit at thee.
Yeah, which, I mean, I've seen less extreme examples in real life, but I've seen that where, like, someone just is so not thinking straight that, like, they do not make rational decisions. So, he could have forgotten very easily his crazy godlike powers.
Yeah. So the shuttle was on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like an
The
abandoned
crash
shuttle.
shuttle.
So was it? So was that actually something that the other crew members actually created? Like, did they somehow put that there?
Either they put it there or they found it and realized this is a thing we should use to lure him.
And who actually sent the distress call?
What distress call?
Because
The distress call that
isn't
Cole
that
picked
why,
up.
that's why they went down there, was because the shuttle was sending a distress call. So was there?
That's a good question.
Was there somebody down there?
I kind of figured Cole might have created a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Or lied and said, they're sending a distress call.
Well, there's definitely something on her screen.
Yeah, but she could have booped any button for something on her screen.
True. But I mean, if they had, like,
Yeah,
the
but-
right name.
Yeah, but I figured the
Usually
boop
she's
any
booping.
button,
Yeah.
like that's just going to do whatever was programmed into the mission.
The script
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
The boops are what Daly wants to happen.
Yeah.
Daly's boops.
Which is weird, right? Because they make it a point of being, every button does the same thing, and it just it advances the storyline.
Will Wheaton would be livid at this logic.
Everybody
But
does
somehow they managed to also install, for no reason in particular, a fully functional QWERTY keyboard that they could use to interface with the game.
That's true.
Because, like the Mashers, it was in the show, Jake.
I guess. I just, that's a little convenient to me. Like, that seems like a huge flaw in the design. Why
Why the Mashers?
Well,
Why a glass goddamn
Because-
floor in your warp core?
because those were not specifically designed to imprison people, whereas this ship was.
Well, not originally.
Well,
I
that's
don't think
true.
it was designed to, it's not designed
based
to
on
imprison
it.
them. It's
Yeah.
designed
but
to
I'm
be
sure-
like the ship
but
in the show.
I'm saying that's an oversight on Daly's part.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes.
well,
Why
yes.
would he
could have
leave
taken
a
that
fully
out,
functional
yeah.
QWERTY keyboard there?
Because if he took it away, it would be inaccurate to the original model of the ship.
And that
of
might
which it
drive
probably
him
has a
insane.
diagram.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But it didn't have to be functional. It
No,
could have
that's
been
true.
there
That's
for
true.
aesthetic reasons.
Yeah, no, that is very true.
It's absolutely true.
Although I can't help but think that despite how creepy this episode is, I so want that game to exist. The virtual reality.
We still have to play Bridge Crew.
That's
I
true.
have played Bridge Crew.
I have
still thought
too.
East.
It's,
It looks stressful.
you have to talk to people, which I'm not keen on.
You can't. There's no single
I
player
think
version.
there is.
There is, but you have to hop from station to station.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass. It's way better, I'm sure, if you get people you know.
Also, the last time I was playing, I just kept getting into a lobby, but then when I actually tried to jump into the game, it kept kicking me, so I was like, fucking hell.
Oh, that sucks.
It was neat the few times I tried it.
There is a non-VR version of that sort of simulator that I've tried to get people to play with me.
Well, actually,
We should
also,
play.
you
Let's do
don't
it.
need VR for Bridge Crew anymore now either.
Oh, well, that's good.
Oh,
Then you
wow.
could probably actually find 4 people to play it at that point.
Yeah.
What platform is it on?
PS4 and PC and maybe Xbox, but I'm not positive.
Oh, neat.
Well, actually, no. It's
Interesting.
probably not Xbox because they didn't have VR, but it might be now that it doesn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But yeah, no.
I liked Aaron Paul's cameo,
Yeah.
which was pretty sweet.
Which is good.
What
Like,
was it?
He was Gamer 69-1.
Of course he was.
I didn't realize it was him either.
Yeah, apparently in the original story, it was supposed to be a kid, but Charlie Brooker says, I want something more with a Jesse Pinkman vibe. How about Jesse Pinkman?
How about, hey, this guy you have on your payroll for a different show?
King of Space.
Yes.
yeah,
King
it's
of
interesting,
Space,
you know,
bitch.
because he and Jesse Plemons, right? That's Jimmy Plemons. What am I?
Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, okay. Because now I had Jesse Pinkman on my brain. So I'm like, Jesse... no, it's not Jesse. Anyway. So yeah, Jesse Plemons, they starred together on Breaking Bad. Like, man, Jesse Plemons is an interesting actor in that he has a type, and that type is, like, mild-mannered guy who
Capable of anything.
who does really fucked up shit.
See, this is the only
And
thing I've
specifically,
seen him in.
specifically murders children.
Wow.
Where
Yeah.
else did he murder children?
Well, he murdered Jimmy Simpson's
Oh, okay.
kid.
I know, because in Fargo, there was a murder that he was involved with. It wasn't a child.
No.
Interesting.
Murdered a child.
Well,
Well, no.
really, he would be a great, for anyone that is familiar with this, he'd be a great Michael in Pillow Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I would see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got when he was on Breaking Bad, the internet's nickname for him was Meth Damon.
That's cute. I was reading comparisons for this story with a Harlan Ellison short show. We'll start that once more so
Sure.
I can use my mouth. I was reading comparisons.
That's not the Harlan Ellison story I know.
Thank you, Liz.
My pleasure.
Take 3.
You're doing a great job being Caitlin today. You can use all this. Feel free.
Touch dicks.
Brown it. No, I was...
Quite stylish.
So stylish. No, I was comparing this story to Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream.
Oh, what is that story then?
Is anyone familiar?
Yeah, I was actually kind of wondering if this was... I was thinking of that a bit
Yeah,
during.
yeah. I hadn't read it before, so when I read like comparisons to this story online, I was like, I should finally read that because I think a friend of ours likes it. It's a great title. Harlan Ellison is a fucking madman because
Yes.
he can create something beautiful like Sitting on the Edge of Forever, or he can create the most terrifying fucking story in I Have No Mouth But I Must Scream.
No, it is fucked up.
It's so fucked up. I loved it, but it's so fucked up.
Did you know there's a video game of it?
Isn't
No.
Bowie-
Like, it's old. Like,
Ooh.
like it's like 90s PC quality.
And isn't Bowie a voice in it or something? Or am I making that up?
Are you thinking of Omega?
Yeah, it's a different... Yeah, you're right, right.
Omicron.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like someone of note was a voice in it. Keep going, look it up.
Yes, for the benefit of folk that haven't read this story, it takes place in a world after computers have taken over society and killed all the humans except these 5 people that it just torments forever because it hated that humans created computers and made them do its bidding or some shit like that. So it has these 5 humans, 4 men and a woman that they have to constantly be banging, which is really upsetting.
Oh.
The 4 guys have been tormented in various ways. Like the one who was supposed to be the really, really smart, pretty one, he basically turned into a sentient monkey who has mental problems. The others have had various problems, and it's about them walking through life like, ugh, what is the computer? I forget the name of the computer now, but it had a name. Yes.
I don't remember. I'm on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Them just dealing with all the shit that AM throws at them until finally, and I'm spoiling it, and I'm sorry. Finally, the characters start killing each other until only the narrator is left, and feeling like, good, I've killed the others. They're safe now. They don't have to deal with all this shit from the computer anymore. And whatever the computer throws at me, at least I know I've saved them. And after all this time of not eating ever, and it can't die, and walking through the storms forever, he's basically a form that doesn't even look like a human anymore. It doesn't have arms. It just kind of goes. It has no mouth, though he must scream.
Oh, that's the title of the play.
It's a short story.
Title drop.
Also, that's what it was. Ellison was the voice of the computer in the computer game.
Sweet.
Which, if you want to try it nowadays, can in fact be purchased for both iOS and Android.
Perfect.
Android.
What was I going to say about that? Actually, like, you're describing it, brings up another parallel or another, maybe, a deliberate shout-out in the episode.
Two.
This, like, what in another series might be, like, how can we escape?
Mm-hmm.
You know, will it kill us? I don't know, but we have to try. Here, it's like, will it kill us? God, I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that line. I loved when Elena was like, "Oh, I hope we die."
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of again with Ellison because I forgot. Like, even though I was thinking of
He's a twisted fuck.
Yeah. Even though I was thinking of I have no mouth and I must scream, but I must scream rather, I forgot he'd written that. So I, meanwhile, was thinking of his original script for Sitting on the Edge of Forever. And was wondering if Daly would end up in some sort of horrible death loop.
Supernova dying forever in
like
the end of the episode.
Wouldn't let Ellison use then.
Going through one of those rock formations on the desert, like the planet California that they go to in the episode.
Yeah.
They have that same rock formation, just copy paste it all over the landscape.
That was one thing. There wasn't a Kirk's Rock in the desert that I spotted. Although I wasn't looking too hard for one, but I
didn't see one.
If they did put one in, it was very subtle.
Yeah, the planet actually looked too good.
Well, that's because it was in a video game that had a higher budget
Yes.
and better graphics. But that was interesting. It did look, though, a lot like, it's like, yeah, this is a TOS planet with money.
Yeah.
Which was nice. You know, like I said, generic desert, planet California.
Yeah, I mean, even Walton, like, compliments Daly on his coding when he's when I was watching my son die. Damn, it looked real.
Yeah.
It was very real. That was a good scene.
That was a good monologue.
Yeah, no, he did that really well. It's kind of the one moment where you're like, okay, there is some humanity to Walton.
Yeah, exactly.
There is humanity to Walton. You can't.
It's just not the best example of
humanity.
humanity.
Yeah, no. I guess there's some
still very human.
decency to Walton, I should say, then. Because Walton's the only one where, like, through a lot of the episode, I was like, most of these people don't deserve... Walton, yeah, kinda. But the rest...
I wonder what Walton was like before they had all the money, though.
Yeah, they presumably knew each other.
They were buddies of some nature, and Walton was just the one who had the CEO quality.
He was the Venkman to his Spengler.
Yeah, like really, you give him too much power and money, he's gonna be a fucking asshole with a guitar in his office.
What if money but too much?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was kind of wondering that, like their backstory.
Something I think we even pointed this out while we were watching that they did again. I think probably to have a sort of dichotomous thing about Daly was how in the office he always ordered skim milk.
Yeah.
In his latte. Yet at home he just drank cartons of chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Which is not skim milk.
No, he didn't drink cartons of them. He would take a sip and
that's
then
true.
go into the game.
But he apparently likes his milk.
Milk and pizza. That man consumes a lot of dairy.
Yeah, that's true.
He's got to give himself lactose intolerance.
Is this like a hint at like stunted childhood?
Oh, maybe.
Could be.
Because he's drinking like out of a carton like you would get in...
kindergarten.
Like right... Well, my elementary school had them too. But yeah, it's that same kind. He's not putting it in a glass. He's putting a straw in, which I'll give him that. He's not, just opening the little side like we had to at lunch.
He's definitely kind of infantilized.
Huh?
You didn't get a straw?
I never got a
No,
straw.
they just gave us the carton.
Yeah, and if you tore it wrong and fucked it up, you were stuck with, trying to open the back of it and drinking from the rough side.
Yep, and then ultimately it's all gone wrong. You're drinking from a fucking square
cardboard cup.
Yeah, which I mean, when you're a kid, you don't realize it's kind of cool. It's like a sake cup because those are often square.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not cardboard.
No, that's true too.
I suddenly feel so privileged. Like I mean, like it was, you open up, you fuck up opening it up, but then you just use a straw it's an emergency induction port.
We never had straws.
Yeah, I don't recall straws being a thing.
I thought Connecticut had money. Why didn't you have straws?
I went to parochial school.
Oh, yeah, straws are of the devil.
Yeah.
That's true, because it's a sucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what?
My school system...
Using straws leads to other forms of
My
sucking.
school system was just broke. What was your school's excuse?
I don't think
It builds character.
It never even occurred to me that straws would be required. For
No,
that.
me neither, actually.
Because
But now that I'm thinking
it's
about
more
it,
built-in.
It's cleaner. It's less chance of spillage.
Maybe.
especially with
Also,
bloody-
I don't know. Maybe in Jersey they just teach you to stab early. You know?
Well, they also don't let you pump your own gas there. I think your state's a little
Well,
too.
no, because like what
Nanny
if
state
all
New
that
Jersey.
Aquanet in your hair and all that synthetic fabric in your jumpsuit, you might set something on fire.
A lot of flammable things.
This has been Straw Corner.
Uh,
But yes, no, I think I hadn't thought of that, but that's clever. The idea of the sort of the big cartons of milk
yeah.
representing some kind of arrested development.
Well, yeah, and just the fact that he was like, I think they were trying to say a lot about his character, not just with the milk, but with
He has
know,
to order.
the
He doesn't make his own food. He orders pizza.
Yeah, and he's got lots of toys and
Very
things
isolated,
like that. You
yeah.
know, they're
Yeah.
and
He
that
has.
could,
He's reliving his childhood.
that could be another reason why some people were upset by the characterization, just because it is kind of like infantilizing that, someone that's collecting toys.
We say in front of our
Well,
row
that's what
of
I'm
Star
saying.
Trek
Like,
toys.
I mean, like,
Oh,
somebody,
one's got a pink teddy bear on it.
like someone could come in here and see all
He's
these
the
toys
captain.
and be like, "Oh boy, these creeps."
Oh man, I mean, I kind of wonder what the janitorial staff at work thinks of me. I've got a fucking row of starships on my desk now. Anyway, yes, but toys aside, yeah, I mean, certainly I can't, if I had that man's money, I'd have a huge apartment, way more collectibles, and probably not cook as much, if at all. So I can see that. But again, that thing is like, at first he seems like he's just living the nerd dream. It then gets dark.
Yeah.
But it keeps swerving into like humor. Like,
Yeah.
It is very funny, and it's one of those things where you're like, "This is."
Oh yeah,
Joke,
when
but-
we meet Jillian and she's just you
Oh
know,
yeah.
Oh, she just relaxed.
she's just like, oh okay, we're on a break now. Now I can stop being a terrifying bug monster
Scratch
and
myself
be
with
a
a
lovely,
tentacle.
cuddly bug monster.
Yeah, she's gotten used to being a bug monster.
Then there's that dialogue in the background. Walton's like, "How you doing, Julian? You look great."
Yeah.
But then also like the body hormones, like, no, we have no genitalia. This is all horrible. This is our bodies have been mutilated, sort of thing. And then a moment later is like, what was it? I have it written down. Stealing my pussy is a red fucking line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that was her, like, this is it. Everything else up until this point, no, this is the problem. Which is fair, but, like, the delivery.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting it.
No.
Nice.
No, that was great. And also, maybe that's the thing, like I said, also before she did that, there was, sometimes we would rub them together to try to get
Yeah.
something going.
Out of sheer boredom.
I do,
Perineum.
I do love the idea of, I almost want to see something that's not sort of this kind of thing, a less horrifying version, but just like computer programs chilling out when they're not being used, which you could say was kind of the premise of Reboot, I guess?
Yes, that's exactly the premise.
But for adults.
Mm.
I want Reboot for grown-ups, where they're just like,
Have you seen Wreck-It Ralph? Wreck-It Ralph is fun.
Tron.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tron is
love
the same
Tron.
thing.
I wasn't keen on Wreck-It Ralph. Couldn't make it through.
Huh.
Yeah, it
The
didn't
Matrix.
click with me. A little different, but yeah. I know I haven't looked into it, but I know when the episode was first out and popular, and I was avoiding again information. There was talk of a spin-off. I presume it would be set in because I didn't read about it because I didn't want to spoil the episode. But I presume it wouldn't be set in the world of Space Fleet, but in the world of the game following the now freed
The
crew.
world of what's it called, Infinity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be interesting. I don't know if they actually...
I didn't hear this rumor.
I don't know if this was a rumor or wild speculation or fan hope. Because again, at the time, I didn't really look into it because I'm going to watch this episode eventually. I don't want to ruin anything for myself. I will say it's something I would be really intrigued to watch if the hard part would be writing it well.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to sort of do like you said, Jake. Living in an online game. What's that like? Will there be people in the real world who eventually work out that there's a bit of possibly sentient code running around? Do they ever try to contact their real world selves?
Do they ever run into their real world selves?
Yeah, do any of them play it?
I'm
don't
sure
know
they
that.
play it. They program it.
Cole was very excited about it.
The first thing we see when we get into the office and we walk down a hallway is we walk by a room with a whole bunch of people in their
That's
lounge
true.
chairs plugged in.
I assume they were beta testers.
Yeah, I assume
play testers.
I assumed they were QA. You get the sense, though, certainly, I don't think Walton does. Walton,
No,
I feel like, is
probably
not a gamer. He was just friends with daily and rode his coattails.
He didn't even get the reference to the Callister. It's like,
Yeah.
Sure, name it that, whatever.
But he also didn't even, like... That was something I noticed. Like, he was upset when he found out about the update delay, but he found out through an article, it looked like.
He's not paying a lot of attention to his own company.
Yeah. Just playing that guitar.
Yeah, well, I bet badly. I bet he only got it to think he'd look
Because it
cool.
looks cool.
And I'm willing to bet he's had it for like a week when we see him fingering it in his office. But yeah, like on the one hand, like if that's the premise, like it sounds really kind of fascinating. On the other hand, it feels like maybe it's better left imagined. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good cast, love the ship. Gotta love the ship. And it could be good, but it could also get old really quick. Like they could blow their online gaming jokes way too quickly. It's be like, well, this is the show now. We've made all the jokes. Fuck, we're 2 episodes in.
King of Space.
Yeah, every episode. Yeah, I think I remember when I was reading that when they approached Aaron Paul about being the King of Space, he was like, "Okay, I'll do it as long as this doesn't count as the time I'm on Black Mirror, and you guys bring me on for something else because I really want to be on Black Mirror."
That is fair.
Yeah, but Black Mirror in general, I think is a very
it's solid.
It's a very interesting show. I feel like it has in the last season or so has become far too dependent on virtual reality plots.
Well, that's the new hotness right now.
No, I love virtual reality.
I mean, I think they're
plots.
fine. It's just I feel like they had more creativity when they focused less on virtual reality and more on.
I don't know. The thing is, I think I like all the virtual reality stories. I'm not going to go into them now.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, some of them are the best stories. They definitely are. And I think that's the thing. I think
that haunted house one is really, really fucking trippy.
They had one in the previous season before this season that was very, very well received. That was a virtual reality story. And I think then the following year they're like, "Yep, we're just going to do virtual reality. We'll have one with a robot dog, but other than that, virtual reality."
Oh, I loved Robot Dog. I was on the side of Robot Dog.
No, poor Ibo.
Yes, it was Ibo.
The Ibo are slowly dying.
And people are like really, like I saw a documentary
they have been for
thing.
Decades in some cases.
Like, people are very attached to their Ibos and there's like a cottage industry of people like
Ibo funerals.
just like people trying to like repair them.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And like cannibalizing parts off of old ones.
Yeah. It's got to be like WALL-E, where eventually there's just a single sentient Ibo made from parts of all of its predecessors.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's got weird and kind of sad.
A little bit.
On that sad robot dog note, this has been...
Did you have any other notes, Liz?
Perineum.
Got it in there.
Why perineum?
It's actually the second time I mentioned it so far, but no one knows.
Oh, the first
that's
one.
fine. It's just a secret perineum.
Brown eye perineum.
When did perineum come up? I don't know.
It's when Cool Woman.
Mallory.
Yeah, the cool one. She used it as an insult.
That's right.
It was great. It was pretty great. That's really the only thoughts I have coming out of that and Tiny Eyes Matt Damon. That's what he looks like. He looks like a Tiny Eyes Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
All right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
On that...
So thanks, guys.
Now it's less sad.
Yes, on that much less sad note, this has been 10 Forward number 7, Black Mirror USS Callister.
Yay.
Thank you, Liz, for joining us and being our number 4 when reality has fucked up scheduling.
And vomiting.
Yes.
It's also fucked up vomiting.
Yes, it was my fault, everyone. I was ill, and we had no room in our schedule to lose a day, and we did. So next week, we will actually be covering the previously promised Manhunt and the Emissary. So please join us then for that. As always, you can find us on Facebook as A Star to Steer Her By. We are on Twitter and Tumblr as SSHB Podcast. And please download us and rate us on your favorite podcasting application.
5 stars.
Yes. For A Star to Steer Her By, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
Oh, this is Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
And this is SoundClown.
Oh, God, he got it in anyway.